Welcome back to Starladder SCA Season 10 coverage. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got IAP versus MiTH here for our third match of the night. I'm Zyori, joined once again by Blaze. Blaze, what's the good word, buddy?
Looking forward to this game, man. These two teams have had some history with one another, playing back and forth and taking games off of each other. IAP is still relatively new as far as like this specific roster. A lot of them are familiar with one another, but not playing as a core five. But they've been looking so damn good throughout Starladder SCA. They have been just absolutely dominating matchups where they weren't expected to triumph, and I would actually say they're really up there in one of the higher ranked teams in the SCA right now. So really excited to see them. Of course, MiTH, at least two members of the roster have been together since 2011, but they have made some shifts more recently. So we're seeing Naki and MyPro from Everlast kind of fill in those slots and see what they can accomplish. And so far, it's been pretty good. I mean, their results haven't been amazing, but they always bring us good games, and I'm always looking forward to that. As far as the draft here, we do see the Wraith King picked up. It's probably going to go to Lakel's. It's one of the few non-late game oriented heroes that he does like to play, but that would leave MyPro to pick up the Death Prophet from the mid. Against the Skywrath the Doom, they just didn't feel comfortable drafting a Brewmaster, and in fact, they leave it in the pool through the second phase. So surprisingly, that does get around the other side, but Brewmaster will be picked up immediately by IAP in response.
And we're just going to take a quick glance at the grid to see how these teams are standing. You mentioned MiTH, not with the greatest record. They are 4-3, so kind of middle of the pack in position 7 out of 12. Though, like you said, they have been consistently putting up good fights. IAP, they're still tagged up as Execration, but boy, have they had a good run so far. 7-1 in their 8 games played, so they are tangoing for the top now, nipping at the heels of Titan, who are sitting 8-2. And if they win this one, that'll actually seat them in the top position here in this group stage. So, fair bit on the line. Pride as always, but for IAP, it's this beautiful record they want to keep going for themselves. They're off to a good start with this draft. You pointed out some of the synergies there. We'll see what they do with this 4th pick. They've been very speedy so far, just now dipping into that reserve time.
Yeah, so they clearly know what they want. I mean, it hasn't been the most difficult of decisions going in. Responding to a Death Prophet with a Skywrath and a Doom isn't too tough. Banning out the Ancient Apparition in particular is a little interesting, but the Tide is very meta for SEA. It's a very common pickup for the offlane there, and the Brewmaster was left open to them, so I almost feel like that's something they had to go for. But now that they have it, we'll see what they can do with it and what they want to pair that with. Probably going to get the secondary support here to roam with the Skywrath. See a lot of different heroes that can accomplish that. The Sand King, the obviously can't say Marana, that's been picked up, but could go with the Rubik as well. I think that's really strong against heroes that are on the table right now for MiTH. They're obviously not their ultimates. You're not going to be stealing that very often, and maybe won't get the most out of the Exorcism compared to the DP herself. But you steal Crypt Swarm, you steal Wraithfire Blast, you steal Arrow, and you're going to be having a pretty good time for yourself. So I'd like to see it, and we have seen some great play from Emma Stone, aka RR, aka Ralphie, on the support Rubik, so that's why I want to see it so bad, but we'll see if that's actually the tree they want to bark up.
Yeah, they are really taking their time here and just deciding how they want this draft to unfold. They may be considering an Earthshaker, and the hero that pairs nicely with the Skywrath. And no, the Templar Assassin. Okay, that'll be their 3rd core.
I think that's a J hero. I think Jay's going to try to take that to the mid lane here. But where does that leave the Brew? Do they want to safe lane the Brew for the early blink and off lane the Doom?
Yeah.
It seems like that seems the best way to do it. But yeah, there's a bit of greed here. There's a lot of experience reliance on the 3 heroes IAP has most recently picked up. So we'll see what they accomplish with it. But as far as the lane matchup, it's going to be pretty nice TA versus Death Prophet, that's for sure. And if they can shut down MyPro early, make sure he doesn't get too much in terms of durability. If you actually think about the item progression of a Death Prophet, you usually see either the Mechanism or more often the Drums of Endurance picked up by him, and then the Eula Scepter, and then you start building up something like a Plate Mail or a Heart. But early on, Templar Assassin is going to be providing a lot of negative armor and exploiting the fact that JP just doesn't have much resistance naturally. So might be able to just keep her pinned down, keep her at low HP to the point that she won't be able to sustain through the fights.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right about that. We often comment on that low starting armor of Death Prophet, and a good pick on that front. We'll also give IAP a little bit of Roche control. Even though they're on the Radiant side, you can keep a side trap down in the pit, so you always have eyes. And if you do get a window of opportunity to move into the Roche pit, that Meld Strike minus armor we're talking about will really come in handy. IAP could also opt to offlane the Brewmaster and safe lane the Doom. We saw Winter do it last game, so on the Radiant side it is certainly a possibility. Perhaps not ideal, but, well, if you get that ball rolling pretty quickly, then he may still be able to find himself a quick Blink Dagger. MiTH Trust, ban out the Earthshaker, smart choice there, and IAP will take out the Shadow Demon, a great support to pair with your Mirana and Wraith King, obviously setting up for arrows, and really creates a lot of kill potential with that Soul Catcher.
Yeah. Still think this is a hell of a Rubik game. I would really love to see it come out for IAP. I think it would set them up for a lot of potential success here. Just one or two casual spell steals, and they're going to be able to shift the fights with pretty much anything he picks up. But we'll see if it's what they want to do. They obviously know how they want to run this Templar Assassin and how they need to set him up for success. It's going to be hard to close distance on these targets with the Stampede active. They don't have any hard lockdown. So again, they need some good hard stun. Vengeful Spirit's fine, but the Rubik is my preference.
Yeah, no complaints about a Rubik whatsoever. IAP running out of bonus time, though, so they'll have to make their decision, and there you have it, Blaze. You will get your wish, Mr. Grand Magus.
Indeed. Such a fun hero to watch, too. I mean, there's so much versatility in the hero, so much potential that he can bring. He can always steal the Wraith King stun, but might be able to pick up some really cool things. The Stampede to counter the Stampede, perhaps. That would be cool to see the Brewmaster, Brewlings charging in and chasing things down at maximum movement speed. We'll get some Too Fast, Too Furious action going on.
Now MiTH Trust, they will need their second support here, as you mentioned, probably the Lakel's Wraith King, so he will be the farmer, support Mirana, and whoever they want to pair with this. Probably someone with some setup. Vengeful Spirit could be a good option, always on the dire side. Having that flexibility in the Roche Pit with some minus armor is not a bad idea.
What do you think about the Leshrac?
Yeah, it could work out. Well, with Wraith King there to set up the stun, there is some staggering about with the Split Earth into the arrow. I think it could be an option for sure.
Yeah, obviously it doesn't have as much roam potential towards the mid lane, but at least they have the damage that will pierce through the refraction with the Diabolic Edict. So just one point in that, refraction is kind of nullified there, and if they can just get one stun, one form of lockdown, maybe they'll be able to get the TA kill, which is difficult to acquire. I mean, I guess like Venomancer and Jakiro would be pretty good too. So we're going to see Naki pick up the twin-headed dragon, and that gives them a little bit of both worlds. So they get to set up Disable for the Mirana arrow in some circumstances, and they still get that damage over time that will make Templar Assassin's durability nullified, at least to an extent. But we'll see how they want to lane it. Most likely just going to be the SD, Naki, Lakel's defensive tri-lane with Mirana and Jakiro roaming a little bit while MyPro takes the mid on the Death Prophet.
Yep. Nothing too surprising about the hero player combinations on the side of MiTH Trust. Fox will grab his Brewmaster, and like you mentioned, Jay on that TA, most likely headed towards the mid lane. So it should be a good matchup, and IAP, they do have the fan favorite vote here. I believe the bets are... I had it open, and now I've lost it. Where am I? Execration, MiTH Trust, 71% in favor of Execration. So, yeah, based on results, I think that's probably fair enough.
No, Execration are an insanely good team. I honestly, like, when I first saw their first 3 or 4 games, the way they played reminded me of the Orange Esports of 2013, the one that became Team Titan now. It's just they work together, they gel together, they have insane individual skill, and they're picking up these signature role sets where they can really make the most of their early game, their mid game, I mean, every phase. They seem so damn strong. But MiTH Trust is a very experienced team, some veteran players involved here, and we'll see how they hold against it.
Now both sides with a big invade coming out. 5 heroes for MiTH Trust and only 4 for IAP. They will send their Doom to the safe lane. So it looks like Yui will be on the position 1 Doom here in the safe lane, and the offlane Brew seems to be the most reasonable assumption here. So they'll prioritize some farm on the fast farming Doombringer. How is this invade going to work out for MiTH Trust? Looks like they won't find the Doom off the bat. He does not have boots first, so if he gets caught, he will most certainly fall, but he's in a very defensive position. So.
Okay. Yeah, I thought he was just going to keep wandering around the jungle. I'm like, he would be walking right into them, one Wraithfire Blast, and that's a guaranteed kill. But as soon as he drops the ward, he heads all the way back to his base, looking for the block on the bottom lane.
Yep, a very smart rotation from him, and makes it virtually impossible to get ganked in that time window. Unfortunately, his ward will get taken out. They get a sentry on the high ground and just barely find the radius there to secure it, but initial warding victory will go the way of MiTH Trust. IAP get a observer down, block the pull camp, but we'll see a potential first blood as KYT. He gets caught out in the mid lane, connects with a hoof stomp, but they should have enough right clicks to bring him down. Jay pops the refraction, and oh my god, the refraction blaze. That'll be a first blood drawn out by the TA.
Yeah, it takes a lot of tower shots, but only one actually hits into his HP pool because of that refraction. So I was actually afraid that he wouldn't get the right click off because he didn't skill side blades, but it does pay out. He does have the movement speed to run down the center. Just 5 MS advantage, but it was enough. So he will be able to get that kill, and a huge one at that. Getting it on Jay right now. He's already got the bottle coming out. There's no way to Corey snipe this. He's even got a magic stick. Like, the bottle is one thing, but the magic stick against the Death Prophet, MyPro is already going to have a hard lane, but this just makes it nigh impossible. They need the ganks to roam in as quickly as possible, but SD right now, he's down bottom with this aggressive tri-lane, forcing you out of the lane. I guess that's nice, but he'll just go ahead and pick up the Centaur Devour right here.
Yeah, instead now MyPro will be the target of the first gank as in comes Rubik and Skywrath Mage. Emma Stone there with the telekinesis to pull him back. Jay taking some damage from the creeps, but gets off the refraction, and this time he won't dive it. Emma Stone takes a few tower shots and actually goes down to the Dire.
That was definitely a mistake on RR's part. If he had dropped him down into the river here, hey, I can draw in the water. Look at that. They fixed it. Anyways, yeah, if they had just thrown him down the cliff there into the river, he would have been a guaranteed kill. No dive, no death via the Rubik. So that was a misplay on the telekinesis part. He absolutely could have done that, but unfortunately just doesn't hit it the right way. And like you said, 1 tower shot too many.
Yep, so Doom will get repelled. He doesn't die in that initial onslaught, but does just rotate his way through and come back to the lane. You mentioned that first Devour out on a Centaur, so War Stomp in the belly does help him out a lot in this kind of a scenario in a 1v3. Gives him kind of that Centaur syndrome. If they jump on him, he can just connect with a stun. But they are committed to this mid lane. Kimmo and Emma Stone back once more in the same exact telekinesis pattern. Instead of taking him to that low ground, he brings him closer to the cliff. They secure the kill this time, but interesting telekinesis choices from this Rubik.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're worried that he might just run down river the second that he drops down into it, but I don't really see the support coming in from MiTH Trust that rapidly. Actually, Jay taking some hits here. The Crimson won't be in range, though. So, yeah, I think they're just going to start camping out with SD here. He's got the clarity. He's going to wait for his arrow and pretty much just try to defuse situations. If he goes back down bottom, I'm sure they can zone you harder, but they're just going to see more death on this Prophet.
Yeah. Now, meanwhile, in the top lane, probably the most quiet of them all, Brewmaster out farming the Centaur. He does not have a value point in the Drunken Haze, but still just finding the better of him with that crit. 14-4 versus the 9-1 Centaur. The supports will rotate up once more. So pretty good news for IAP out of the gate. Brewmaster winning the top lane. And TA has gotten a few kills now, 1-0 and 1, so that has helped his farm a fair bit. But in terms of raw CS, actually on point with the DP. Ironic as that may be, still a huge amount ahead of him, just about doubling his net worth, as those kills have been rather crippling on the Crobulus. Looking to set up this gank on KYT, but they just can't find the opening, and his positioning just a little bit too good. There is a Dire ward down here and has scouted them out, so he's aware that there is some trickery inbound, and he will take appropriate action.
So it's interesting that SD's just kind of going into this like jungle Mirana farming away very slowly mode. I don't really know. I feel like if you drafted Mirana, you want to be putting out pressure on the lanes, getting those straight arrow opportunities. But so far, AAP have seen it coming every step of the way. They have a good Radiant Observer ward up top. So when Mirana does choose to try to counter gank to a degree, it's going to be very projected, and those arrows are just going to be not on the mark. Kimo going to go in, and he's going to be able to dodge this arrow no problem. He knows where the Mirana is.
Yep, wrap around, and
oh no!
Emma Stone. Oh, wow. They might be able to set this up, and now the silence onto the Centaur. He can't find the hoof stomp he's looking for. Rubik still falls. KYT will survive. He's got enough hit points to deal with that Arcane Bolt. I am so surprised he got hit by that arrow. That was...
He turned away from it, too. He's just walked right back in after. I don't know.
Oh, boy. Well, a couple of freebies going the way of MiTH Trust. Both kills on the Rubik are really more from misplays on the side of Rubik than big plays on the side of MiTH Trust. But result is the same, and they'll find a little recovery. It is tied up 2-2, and now Wraith King has some okay farm under his belt as he's had a lot of space in this bottom.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has rough days, but these are very punishable errors, and MiTH getting some nice momentum forward as a result. We're actually going to see Lakel's go. Still, he's a carry at heart. He's going to go for that MiTH as quick as can be, and that is going to allow him to compete with the Doom's farm. Even though Doom has been shut down for now, he will bounce back with the Max Devour. So Lakel feels he needs this MiTH to stay active and stay on the map. It means he might get one less kill because of the lack of Blink Dagger, but Naki's here to set him up for it. The Ice Path, the Wraithfire Blast. Ice Path will actually dissipate, and the War Stomp will come through. Kimo looking to turn it around.
Yeah, Lakel's is in some trouble here. He's not quite level 6, sitting on 5 as you in the front lines, taking a lot of damage. We'll have to move into the tree line. They secure the kill onto Lakel's, and Naki looking to finish him off, but will get punished, and it's a 2-for-0 going the way of XCtN, aka IAP. Doom, knowing his limits there, manned up and survived with just a few hit points to spare as he moved into Fog.
So now we see just great control over the map from IAP, making up for lost ground earlier. We do see the dive up top. KYT does have Stampede and Stun, so Fox shouldn't be able to net this kill, but still might want to put pressure him in while he can. So he finds him out. He does not get the clap off. The stun comes through, and KYT pops a Stampede to disengage. But with the arrow not connecting and Fox in a position with a TP scroll, there's not going to be much coming of it there. Down bottom, though, Lakel's.
Yep, Lakel's looking for a kill on you. He'll survive once more, and even a TP down from Fox.
The damage over time doesn't bring down the Doom. Close, but no cigar.
Yep, and Naki will be able to fly his way to safety. And while we're looking at that, TA finds a complete solo kill on the Death Prophet. I don't know if you caught any of that, but...
No, but I mean, you can think about
solo.
how it went down. The fact that he doesn't care at all about the tower, the fact that he has his traps now to kind of lay in advance. This is Jay's lane. Like, the Death Prophet can hardly come back because he has just so much control with the roaming supports, giving him these opportunities, and the level advantage, the farm advantage. He can chase down Death Prophet, who's only running on brown boots, and pretty much take her down no matter what, unless there's a TP rotation or a defensive stampede.
Bottom tier 1 tower now taking heavy pressure. There is a lane ward coming down put by Rubik, so the fight breaks out here. They'll have a lot of vision, and they'll be happy to dive it. Primal split onto Lakel's, who still has not hit level 6. More deaths coming his way. All of a sudden, 0 and 3 on him. MyPro rotating over. Does have an Exorcism caught inside of the Tornado. They will lose their Skywrath Mage, and Naki's still taking a lot of damage from these Brew splits, or Primals, but Fox will take the Earth Panda back and be in a position to survive. So just a 1-for-1, but the support Skywrath for the position 1 Lakel is certainly a worthy trade. And even just picking on this Wraith King now before he can complete the MiTH, before he hits level 6, this is that very small window of opportunity where you can really punish this greedy build of Lakel's.
Absolutely. He loses 150 gold each death and a lot of time farming, so the MiTH is just not coming. And he doesn't want to spend his gold in like a casual TP scroll or something to negate his losses because he really just needs to finish that Gloves of Haste. He's already committed to it. He doesn't have any real choice, honestly. Once you buy that recipe, there's no going back. And he's just said, okay, well, I'll pick up the safest position I can up on the top lane. Carry supports, please, carry TPs, please, support. And have the Stampede available for me because I am not leaving my lane until I get this 500 gold.
Yeah. So Jay still just farming it up in the mid lane. Now the last hit leader by a decent margin. Will try to man up on Jakiro, but caught in the Ice Path. MyPro coming in. And there's the Centaur with a Stampede. Even SD rotating. All 4 heroes have to commit to bring down Jay, but they will find the kill and finally slow down some of that Templar Assassin momentum.
Yeah, he was level 8. There was nobody even close to that. Like, they're now breaching into like 7.5 for the Death Prophet because he got experience from that kill. But man, he was just miles ahead of everyone else and needed to be taken down a notch. Up on the top lane, we do see you in a position where you can just kind of hold the tower, go for some counter push. But it's interesting that they keep on just kind of matching each other 1-for-1, just always rotating the same lanes, and yeah, they kind of square off throughout the laning phase, no matter where they find themselves in the end.
Yep, Dire Glyph comes out as Fox, as well as this Skywrath Mage here. Can't see his name because I'm colorblind. Chemo, that's it. Pressuring this bottom tier 1 tower. Centaur will keep it safe. He is level 8, so Centaur's found a lot of experience, has Tranquil Boots, and 1,500 gold. Will be on his way to a very decently timed blink. Even though Brew won the top lane, Centaur still found a lot of useful farm, and he is really in good shape. Brewmaster not too far off. His blink as well. Arcane Boots already up, so that will delay the timing. You'll often see Brewmasters just invest in a bottle and then go straight into the blink, but a slightly different item trajectory here, and ultimately won't really slow him down too much. Jay in the mid lane takes an Ice Path, and Liquid Fire will cut through the refraction And he'll just set up a meld strike on the high ground. He'll be A-okay as MiTH Trust start to lose a little bit of HP on these Tier 1 towers. Mostly in the bottom lane as, once again, Fox and Kimmo press forward. And Fox looking to secure this last hit on it, which he should be able to do pretty easily.
Yep, does want to finish his Blink Dagger off of that. He will get the last hit, and that will be Blink plus the Primal Split available for the next fight. But we will see some item pickups come out from IAP. If they can just weather the storm of these next couple of splits, they're going to be in a pretty decent position in general. They get not only the Blink Dagger, but they also get the 2 Midases. 1 on Jay, 1 on you, and they are just going to be swimming in gold in the next few minutes. If they can just keep this up where they get 1 or 2 good fights on the back of the Primal Split and keep doing their thing in terms of farm.
And this is where those kills on that Wraith King really make a big difference. Doom had almost nothing in terms of raw CS, and you see still a big disparity. Look, Hell's at 47, only 26 on you, but look at net worth. The Doom is actually ahead of him by 500 gold. Lakel's did manage to get his MiTH by about maybe 50 seconds ahead of the Doombringer, but that really mitigated that early lead he picked up. And now Doom is right back on track, and we'll have that farming tool to keep up blow for blow. And as a team, they'll take a farming advantage in general. Mid lane, Naki will get picked off as they rotate onto him just to support Jakiro. Not much he could do all by his lonesome. But up top, TA pulls the creep wave off the tower, and they will start to shove in a little bit. Lakel's has hit that level 6 mark, actually sitting level 8, so has the ultimate ready. But that doesn't mean that IAP won't be eager to try and take a fight if they can find an opening.
Yeah, SD here, he's only at level 5 right now, hasn't really contributed to the lanes too much, only 1 kill, 1 assist, and actually, moving on the mid, this could be very bad. MStone gets the telekinesis onto MyPro.
Yeah, it's a stolen ice path to start it off. And MyPro will survive. The Primal Split flies through, and very little comes of it. TA gets left alone in the top lane as Doom rotates down bottom, and TA actually gets stunned up. This could be the end of Jay. Will just turn onto SD, does as much damage as he can. Now another Wraithfire Blast coming out. Lakel's will man up. He secures the kill, and that'll be some recovery for him. Now, meanwhile, on the bottom, Yu pops the Doom ultimate. Mystic Flare comes in onto KYT. Will they actually have the damage to bring him down, though? Certainly doesn't look like it. He'll weather the storm. Moonlight Shadow deployed, and after all that exchanging, it will just be a 1-0. TA gets picked off in the top.
Yeah, the Moonlight Shadow does pop off for the first time, but it looks like they're not going to be able to get very offensive with it. SD doesn't find an opening, and down bottom, Lakel's doesn't either. So, yeah, I mean, the TA pickoff is pretty huge. He didn't get the chance to use the regen rune. He actually used it while dead because of the 2-minute dissipation effect. But this is going to give an opening where they can look to try to go for the Roche, and they do even hit the arrow on it, level 1 arrow, but still getting the damage done. Liquid Fire plus the Exorcism, 2 great Roche tools, but will it be enough to take it down in time? They're still at about half HP. The illusions come through, and they definitely want to contest this if they can.
Yeah, they know exactly what's going on. They have a ward at the high ground. Yu does not have an ultimate, but Centaur presses forward. They find the Skywrath, and this is a very sloppy way to go about it. They kind of just wander into the pit as 2, knowing that all 5 of MiTH Trust have moved in, but maybe that's enough to repel. Well, end of the day, they'll be happy to trade the Skywrath to create space for TA in the top lane and stop the Roshan. So, MiTH Trust, they probably could have committed a little bit more to that, knowing that the Primal Split is on cooldown, Doom is on cooldown, and the Skywrath was dead. But just the inkling of rotations, enough for them to completely back out and abandon their mission.
Yeah, J-Stars are stuck here on the top lane for a little bit here, TP scroll cooling down, so yeah, he was pretty committed to that, and I think the Roche could have actually been dropped, but without the full Exorcism, that they really didn't feel great about it. I mean, you look at Death Prophet's items, and you know how quick she can drop if one thing leads to another. If one, it just takes a turn for the worst. So 900 HP, 5 armor, still no Eul Scepter, and it's very easy to be comboed by that Skywrath that just respawned. So he's going to smoke up, drop down the wards. They're going to cover up the pit and make it very difficult for MiTH Trust to take a hold once more.
Yeah, part of DP's lack of farm is also just brown boots straight into Eul. So normally what we would call a race car build, she's pretty damn slow. I mean, she does have those points in Witchcraft, and that does put her at about 395, but context of Death Prophets, she's not so speedy. And that will potentially cost her in upcoming skirmishes. Arrow flies through down bottom as MiTH Trust scouted out to see what's going on, and they may still be interested to try and move into the Roche pit, but at this point he's regenerated a substantial portion of his hit points and will soon be topped off in just a few more minutes. Double damage rune at the top position. It looks like IAP will be the ones to grab it. And TA with the double damage in the bottle at this stage in the game is very scary.
Yeah, we're gonna see a double stack farmed up my pro a little bit, but he says his people may need him. He's gonna try to stay close to the mid lane as well. Does pick up the Yule Scepter here, so or actually when he gets the Void Stone in 200 gold. But yeah, still trying to kind of make up for lost ground. It's interesting. You mentioned the TA trap not in the Roche pit. I think he'll change that now. No, still going for traps elsewhere. And they're just going to go brute force into the pit, try to take it for themselves. And we're going to see the Ice Path come out, and Arrow will connect onto Jay. He's going to take some hits here. It's not obviously going to bring him too low with the refraction, but it's enough to make him uncomfortable here. He is going to be falling back.
Yep. Still forcing out a Moonlight Shadow and pulling a big reaction from MiTH Trust. This is time they're not farming, moving around, and, well, only a wasted Moonlight Shadow, but still a good trade from the TA, who maybe gets a little lucky as they could have converged on him a bit faster. With that Centaur blink after the arrow follow-up, could have been scary, but he will get a pass and just uses that double damage to farm up in the top lane. They see the TP from TA. Maybe that will be enough of an incentive for MiTH Trust to move into the pit and try Roche once more. It certainly will. Exorcism has been committed. TA will walk down from the top lane right away. Has a Yasha, so she is rather speedy. Now the Yule's picked up on DP. Can they bring down Roche fast enough? It doesn't look like it. And first to go down will be the Mirana as the Mystic Flare flies through. Primal Split comes, and now they'll catch the Wraith King inside of the Tornado, but he'll get completely isolated. That'll bring up the Reincarnation, and I think they have a pretty good chance of just killing Lakelz again. He doesn't have many items outside of that MiTH, just power treads. He's not so tanky, and they will focus him down, even commit the Doom for it. Wow, that is some... Lakelz, get out of here, man. That is some serious hate. There are a couple of buybacks burned, though. Lakelz will use one, and the Skywrath Mage, who was picked off moments prior, will use the first buyback on the Radiant side. IAP commit to the Roche pit, and it does go down to the Radiant. Aegis is picked up by TA, not snatched. Now tons of damage coming out on MiTH Trust, and they are in big trouble. They're on the back foot trying to make the retreat, but the move up to the high ground, it's a dieback from Lakelz. SD on the run off to the other side. Brewmaster will finish off the Jakiro, and on the other side of the fight, it is just MyPro headed for the hills, but it looks like he won't be able to survive as they dive the base. Meanwhile, in the mid, SD and KYT getting engaged upon by you. Hoof Stomp will connect. Maybe they'll find a counter kill on the Doom. They certainly can, but will the rest of the cleanup commence? Side trap from TA, just barely off the mark. Mystic Flare will be there to bring down the Centaur, and end of the day, it's IAP that take a huge exchange, secure the Roche, and now have a very staggering lead.
Yeah, it was clear to both sides that this was the fight that would determine where the game goes from here, and absolutely in favor of IAP. We know how things are looking. But yeah, there are a couple things there. Obviously, the Doom got picked off after diving deep. He thought the Brewmaster was with him, but unfortunately, Fox blinked into the trees and couldn't get out. So he was kind of 1v2 there and did get picked off, though, in exchange for the Centaur's life. But man, that Rubik's Steel, getting the immediate telekinesis on the Centaur, who was about to get a two-man stomp, and instead brings him into the enemy. The secondary, okay, Fox going down pretty quickly here. Gonna be picked off. Just a good stun combo and committing the Macropyre. Now trying to chase. They should be able to pick off Chemo as well.
Yeah, they find him, catch him in the Death Prophet Yules. As soon as he comes back down, they will get some cleanup kills, a little bit of a bone getting thrown the MiTH Trust away, but still glancing at the graph. That's 14,000 gold and a pretty decent experience lead. Also secures your Blink Dagger on the Rubik. But yeah, Emma Stone making some big plays in that fight.
Yeah, like making up for every little flub that he had early on in the game in general, right there and then. That one little play, getting the secondary stun of the telekinesis onto two heroes, and then going for a three-man hoof stomp that he had just spell stolen. It was the best play he could have made, and it was just absolutely incredible to watch. I could watch that in slow motion 5 times over. But we do see you. He's driving juke, and he will push a little bit on the bottom lane, get some chip damage there, but yeah, I was actually surprised how he used the Doom there. That last like 20% of Lakelz HP on his second life. It seemed like they had it already, and it would have been really nice to have Doom for the rest of the fight, but in RR we trust to make the rebound, and they still have the Aegis up on Jay. Another double damage rune. How does he find these things?
Yeah, just a little bit of luck going his way. They will rotate up top. Macropyre gets baited out and will be off the mark, as will that side trap. So I think Jay just trying to play with his food a little bit here, as there is a rotation from the Rubik as well as the Brewmaster on their way. Blink forward, and will be able to just 3-shot Naki. Even though the Stampede is forced out, there's no surviving the wrath of a double damage TA who's this farmed this early on.
Yeah, we're on the Tokyo Drift, pacing the hero with the Stampede on him and just 3-shotting him there. We do see just a quick steal of the leap from against the Mirana, but, you know, getting whatever he needs. He gets the kill on the Mirana as they just nuke him down, telekinesis plus Mystic Flare.
Yeah.
They got this aggressive ward too. They see Lakel's moving, and this is really bad. What is Lakel's doing? He really wants to use his MiTH, but he's going to get picked off.
Oh, Lakel's the greed coming out. He'll get caught in the telekinesis. Has a reincarnation, but that's a very easy kill for IAP. They commit very little. Stampede gets stolen. Oh, no. Now they'll be able to hop right back in on top of him. KYT comes in, tries to buy him some time. Lakel's will survive the initial onslaught. Fox takes a lot of damage, is forced back, does have a primal split at the ready, and an Ag Scepter, but will be a little bit more passive, and they do manage to keep Lakel's alive. But another great steal from the Rubik. This time grabs the Sacred Arrow.
Yeah, just rocking them up. These steals have been absolutely immense. Yeah, Stone didn't really make much contribution until after level 6, but that's where you want to be as a Rubik. If you struggle in the first 5 levels, that's fine, because when you're at level 6 and above, that's where your skills really do shine. So the fact that he's been able to manipulate the enemy spells so effectively has been to great avail, and yeah, they are in a commanding lead in this game. You look at the ward positioning, they're aggressive across the map. Naki doesn't even know where to drop his sentries. Actually, they do drop one in the middle of the lane, so good sense from them. But even still, you can't break all these wards. There's a lot down, especially this one just to the east of MiTH Trust jungle, and it makes it very difficult to move about the map without being pretty transparent. But yeah, as far as comeback mechanics, we're going to be looking for Lakel's MiTH to kick in for some item other than just the treads. Maybe he'll go for the blink, maybe he'll go for the armlet and just rely on the stampede initiation. We'll see. For now, they're still looking for the mechanism on the centaur, and of course, DP needs some raw HP items.
Yeah, Lakel's is just so far behind, though. If you compare it to the TA, who now has a blink, Yasha, and what's that on the way? Is that a full BKB for Jay? And even just looking at the Doombringer now, he's pretty close to his Shivas. Has the Mystic Staff with 1,200 gold, essentially just a recipe off. Now Jay hops forward, still with the Aegis of the Immortal in tow. Will be eager to stay aggressive. The stolen arrow from Rubik flying through, and the Stampede used defensively to try to mount and escape. Will be successful so far. Lakel still has his ultimate on cooldown, so needs to be somewhat careful. Meanwhile, in the top lane, MyPro jumped upon. Will survive with 95 hit points. Mystic Flare almost brings him down, but 25 hit points will be all he needs to survive, as the Aegis of the Immortal just about to expire.
Yeah. So right now, the Stampede is on cooldown, and that's a desperate situation for KYT. They have to wait out these 45 seconds without leaving their base, because otherwise they're up against the Aghanim's Primal Split, and there's no way they can disengage. They're going to lose Lakel's once more as he tries to farm around the mid lane, and man, Lakel's generally, I would praise him for his game sense as far as where he's farming and trying to avoid these counter ganks, but not today. This has been a really rough game for him.
Yeah. MiTH Trust will hold a high ground here, and a Blink Dagger was picked up by Lakel's before he went down that time, so at least investing all of that gold into something and minimizing his losses still really hurts to see him picked off once more, and that will take his KDA now to 1-6-2. Ouch.
Yeah, on the Wraith King, no less. That's pretty brutal. So, yeah, in this position, they just need so much more, so much faster. I don't know. Shiva's Guard going to come out. Wraith King's right-click speed is going to be extremely minimal. He gets plus 30 attack speed from his treads. He gets plus 30 from the MiTH, but 2/3 of that counteracted just from this one pickup in the Shiva's Guard.
Yeah, absolutely. Only 17-10 almost makes you think it's kind of a close game, but IAP just have complete control, a huge gold lead. All of the outer towers are down. Roshan won't be up for a little while longer, still getting through that initial set timer before we see if it'll be a short or a fast one. But breaking the high ground for IAP won't be an easy fight. They'll have to find a couple of pickoffs outside of the base before they can do it. And it looks like they'll see this Death Prophet in the top lane, thinking about rotating up, and TA with another double damage, looking to set it up, but DP will just make the smart call to TP out.
Yeah, with this kind of rune luck, I'm kind of surprised he sold his bottle, but, you know, I can't rely on it all day long. He's just going to be running the BKB instead of that, which is obviously is a nice trade-off. So did pop it a little bit early in the last fight, forced the Stampede away, but they weren't able to use that timing window where it was on cooldown to get a good primal split off. So still looking for the next fight, still looking for a Rubik steal on the Stampede, and they're actually going to bring it to him. They're looking for the gank. Right now, not finding anyone, but the Dire Observer Ward will reveal a few, and this should be a nice pickoff.
Yeah, if they want to show off this Blink Dagger from Lakel to the kill, they go right onto you, and they'll secure the kill on Doom to get things started. Emo will survive, at least initially, looking for a neutral deny, but Don't know if that's necessary. He's got a TP scroll. We'll use it, and there you go. He'll live.
No, the Wild Wings almost finished him off, but yeah, about 10 HP. He will sneak on out, and yeah, this is going to be them on retreat for one of the first times this match, but still, they're in a very great position when you consider the fact that the Stampede and Exorcism were both used there. Rebounding with the Doom, they should go in for maybe an all-in push. I mean, the BKB 10, yeah, he doesn't have the Aegis, but Jay can still get extremely aggressive, and they have a lot of potential. But no, he goes top lane. Looks like they just want to keep farming, and no, there's the ping. Okay, so a little bit of uncertainty between multiple members of IAP, but the position is clear. They have an advantage right now if they try to take a fight.
Yeah, a little unfortunate for MiTH Trust. If this was a very fast Roche respawn, they could have used that pick on Doom to move into the pit and maybe secure second Roche for themselves. But it won't be an option here. Instead, they smoke once more. They'll try their luck again. Maybe they can find another pick off and keep the base safe, well, at least for a minute longer. IAP don't seem too aware of it. You in the mid lane again will be the target of choice. Maybe he can manage to get off the Shivas this time. There's Lakel's blinking forward. Starts off with the stun. Moran is there to follow up. Shivas will go through, but Doom will fall in the end. Now the rest of IAP pressing forward. Fox, stop. Thunderclap to get things started. Gets off the Primal Split. They bring down Lakel's for the first time. Reincarnation will bring him right back up. Rubik does steal the Wraithfire Blast. Lakel's blinks to safety as the Centaur comes in to try and make something happen, but Mystic Flare doing so much damage to him. Will get off the mech, but not enough to keep him alive. Now Wraith King stuck inside the Cyclone. Won't be able to make it out as the Jakiro also falls. Only a few heroes still standing for MiTH Trust. They'll make it back to the base, and, well, they will live for now, but IAP take the successful fight this time. As, like you mentioned, no Exorcism, no Stampede. Very difficult for MiTH Trust to take a straight-up 5v5. BKB used by Jay to stop the stuns from coming out. Goes in onto TR and just bursts him down. The silence from the Skywrath to boot and make sure he can't leap to safety. And IAP will find some vengeance for their fallen Doombringer.
Yeah, that was a really good smoke movement in the terms of just picking off somebody before the fight had to commence, but even still, they just can't make up for the fact that they're losing out so much in net worth. So 15,000 on Jay. He is just monstrous. I'm assuming he's going to go for crit next. Could go for a Manta to dodge out some Wraithfire Blast if he doesn't feel his BKB is long enough. But otherwise, yeah, the crit is just going to be what cements their advantage even further with just the potential to almost one-shot a support. He will actually get his bottle back. I'm not sure where that was. I checked inventories, I checked couriers, but he had it somewhere because now he has it back on his own person and looking to bottle up the 28-minute rune.
Yeah. Desolator could be an option for him here. Still a lot of low health or low armor heroes. DP still with only 5. We'll see you get caught again.
Ouch.
Oh my gosh. Triple deaths for the Doom back to back to back now. And he will be short buyback gold as now MiTH Trust moving to the Roche Pit. Exorcism online means they should be able to bring it down, but there's your Desolator on the TA. So this minus armor will really hurt. Lakel's has a reincarnation still on cooldown. He'll be the target of choice. Jay will bring him down very easily with that newfound minus armor. On the high ground, KYT isolating the two supports. Arrow flies through, connects onto Emma Stone, and they might be able to find a kill on the Rubik, but they will lose their Jakiro as the Mystic Flare comes through. Buyback onto Lakel's. He wants to come back into this fight, but victory for IAP. Wait, what happened to Roche? Who got the last hit?
It's still up, dude.
Oh, there he is. I looked in the pit, and there he goes. He was just moved out. So, yeah, that's the big victory here. Hand of MiTH on the ground, but Arrow comes through.
Hand of MiTH. That's a lot of money.
Hits on Jay, and Jay needs to be careful. Roche still standing. MiTH Trust might be able to come in and still grab the last hit. Who's going to get Roche? Who's going to get the Aegis? It goes down by the Radiant. It's Centaur that snatches it, and it will cost Jay his life. He gets the bonus gold, but he'll fall, and well, Fox may suffer a similar flight, gets off the Thunderclap and goes down. What happened to the MiTH? It looks like
picked it up. So they do have it on their own team. They're good. But yeah, they don't take the Roche as cleanly as they wanted to. They still get the golden experience, but it does give KYT that second life. So next fight they're going to have 2 heroes reincarnating back into it, and we're actually going to see Death Prophet go for the BKB here. So there is a lot of magic damage coming out from IAP. I was going to mention this, but essentially I kind of am fine with either the Desolator or the Daedalus. Generally speaking, you get to talk about how Desolator enhances the damage for the whole team, but when you look at it, IAP are almost all magic damage, especially, of course, from the supports, but even Doom with the Shivas build, and they are putting out a hell of a lot of magic damage. So if Death Prophet can try to kite away from the TA and have that BKB active for the majority of the fight, I could see a very effective Exorcism coming out.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right about the lack of team synergy with the Desolator, but it's just more individually. Jakiro with 4 armor, Death Prophet with 6, Mirana on 6. Centaur is the only one with a huge armor. Even Lakel's, he's only on 6 armor right now. Centaur has about 25, but that's because he's holding the plate mail and also the mech carrier. So he is kind of that oddball out. Still not particularly tanky, really lacking on the HP items right now, though he does have that Aegis of the Immortal. And do they even have, they have just no armor items. They don't even have a Basilius. Oh boy.
Just Tisk.
Tisk indeed.
The value Basti right there, 500 gold, and you get a huge amount of mitigation, but not going to find it here. And yeah, they're just going to be slow rolling. I don't think anybody really has that much gold to their name, but they're just really looking for those big utility items. The Force Staff to come out on the Mirana, Jakir to pick up his Yules. He does have that now. And yeah, of course, the cores are focused elsewhere as they've been just so far set behind. So it's just one of those situations where, yeah, it would be a helpful pickup, but their attention is elsewhere. They really need to gun for these items because they are just severely lacking in general terms of resources. But we do see this movement now, and we're looking to maybe posture for the tier 1 bottom. They've only taken 1 tower this game, by the way, with a Jakiro Death Prophet. Yeah, and that's worth noting. But yeah, in the end, they know that the retaliation is coming forth, and yeah, they're not going to be looking to contest anything in a 5v5.
Yeah, Jay will get his Midas back so he can continue farming, and probably looking for a Manta next to upgrade that Yasha, like you mentioned, disjoint some of those stuns, dispel that DP silence, and also just give him a little bit of extra tank ability. Really, I think with Trust will just posture to pick off this Doom once more and maybe get a tower kill in the bottom lane as a consolation, but you will survive this time, and still using that Midas to his heart's content, and a very sizable gold lead still holding steady for IAP. 20,000 gold, 10,000 experience. MiTH Trust, per usual, have been putting up a good fight, but their back is still up against the wall, and even though they can stall for a while and defend their high ground, actually regaining momentum and taking objectives for themselves is a completely different story. As IAP group up, they will smoke and move in through the dire jungle.
Yeah, so they're going to be looking for an opening here. MyPro will TP out, though, so it's just going to be a bit of a waste of time on their front. They're still, farming very efficiently, so they don't really have too much problems. So they don't have time to waste, but all the same, I don't know if they're going to really wait for the full Roshan respawn to try to kind of finish this one off, because right now Wraith King is really poor, but he is getting some comeback mechanics. He's going to have the Maelstrom soon that'll increase how quickly he clears out the creep waves, and he is going to be level 16 as well, which makes him just a more prominent threat in general because he's going to be having that shorter respawn. But we'll see. Right now it's KYT to farm up some Ancients, to pick up an Invisor, and to look for an opening, maybe a pickoff once again. But it looks like IAP have kind of learned from their lessons. Specifically, you is sticking with the pack. Doesn't want to be that weak straggler that gets run down. And he is going to be sticking it out for the full 5-on-5. Jay, on the other hand,
TP down bottom, and now he needs to be careful. An invisible Centaur. This could be rough for the Brewmaster. Blinks just in the nick of time, though, and that will dodge all of the incoming stuns. A huge TP reaction from IAP, and that'll be MiTH Trust's signal to sound the retreat, and they will make it back to safety.
So they force the enemy out of their territory, but oh boy, of course, Lakel's farming deep, does get the blink off, no problem at all, but yeah, gonna have that Maelstrom coming out. He really, really needs to just keep on racking up that attack speed and, in general, his ability to farm as quickly as possible. But we actually see a pretty interesting pickup here on the Brewmaster. Fox picking up a Force Staff. What do you think about that?
Well, certainly not an item you see picked up too often. TH just barely blinking to safety there, but yeah, mobility is definitely not bad here. There are a fair bit of stuns across the entire MiTH Trust lineup, so just having more Force Staves in their arsenal, that is now their 3rd one, so if anyone gets caught way forward by a Hoof Stomp or a Wraithfire Blast, they've got this whole chain of Force Staves to try and free them up and move them back to safety. So I think considering it that way as more of a team utility item, I think it makes sense. In context of the Brewmaster, rather arbitrary pickup. I think their priority was who can farm this very quickly, who's not hurting for gold, and since he already has his core items, why the hell not?
Yeah, so now they have 3 in their arsenal, and this means that anybody that gets hit by the Yule's Ice Path combo is not going to be taking too much damage there. They can Force Staff them out of the macro, out of the Ice Path, whatever, and make sure that they're not on a bad spot. Now, you have to be careful how you use this as far as the direction people are facing, because Yule Scepter lifts you up and sets you down the exact way you were facing beforehand. So that means that, generally speaking, that's going to be facing towards the enemy more often than away, but we'll see. still the utility is there, the initiation, the ability to pull back. I mean, it just allows them to maneuver very nicely. I just found it pretty interesting because despite it being a great item on pretty much any hero, it's one that I don't think I've seen on a brew in a very long time.
Yeah, I guess that's true. He's also just not the best carry because when he splits, he can't use it. So you have this big window where the Force Staff is borderline useless, but that's okay. It'll still have plenty of utility. Heart of Tarrasque now up on the Templar Assassin, so Jay has found that good mix of hitting hard and also surviving quite easily. Fast Fingers will be able to blink to safety, or
he blink
aggressively. It's sort of a dual win there, safety and aggressive,
still.
As he jukes the Ice Path. Pops his BKB, and now Emma Stone will take an arrow. First to go down as Death Prophet secures that kill. Shivas comes out from the Doom. Mystic Flare flies through and does a lot of damage to KYT, actually allows them to secure the kill. So 1-for-1 trade. MiPro doing a lot of damage with the Exorcism. Jay forced back, and it will be a buyback from the Centaur. He wants to get back into this party, and he'll be able to do it. Doom onto MiPro. Lakel's pretty low off to the side as Doom is coming back in, but the Moonlight Shadow doing some serious work that will proc the reincarnation as he finally gets finished off. Fox has already used his Primal Split. Now Jay gets stunned up, just trying to survive as he's on the retreat. The Heart of Tarrasque did help heal him up, but not enough to survive. Mirana goes down to the Shivas. Naki caught inside of the Ensnare from the Doom. He'll go down as well. Now a buyback from the Mirana. IAP, there's a gem on the ground. They'll start to split up to try to make the retreat. Fox will get isolated in the trees. Down he goes, and the two survivors will just try to make it back to the base. Kimo, who may be afraid of that arrow, will cancel his TP, and he'll just have to make it back the old-fashioned way. Yep. MiTH Trust with a hold, but it does cost them 2 buyback.
Yep, but they get 2 gems in return, so that's a lot of potential gold value going out. I think both those were picked up previously by the Radiant. I'm not too sure. Centaur does get one from Naki, so one of them's theirs, one of them's the enemy's, but in either case, they're both in their hands for now. Roshan going to be respawning soon, so that's going to be a valuable time to make sure the Primal Split isn't available, but that's only a 40-second timing window, and like you said, they did commit some buybacks, so that's going to be reinforcements they can't bring in. Fortunately for them, IAP aren't spending their gold, unreliable gold as wisely, so it does mean that they don't have any buybacks for themselves, but in either case, it's going to be a heavily contested Roshan, as it might be the last one of the game. This has been very back and forth. The last fight really broke down to the fact that the Rubik was picked off so early. He got the Exorcism skill, but they got the arrow on him, and they burned him down as quick as they could. And that made it so that, despite the fact that that fight lasted well over 30 seconds, there were no real spell steals.
Now up top, Rubik looking for vengeance, will blink forward, finds SD, catches him in the telekinesis. Doom uses the ultimate and his Shivas to make sure the Mirana can't leap away. Probably overkill. TA was inbound and should be able to chase down a Mirana, but still a kill is a kill. They know she used a buyback, so stuck in the grave for 50 seconds. They'll try to use this window to press forward, and they do ping out the high ground.
Yeah, so this is going to be a time to press since they know that she bought back, and yeah, this is a good opportunity for Jay to really show what he can do with the full BKB, with the full heart. Last time it was kind of a half fight. They didn't want to commit too hard, but now they don't really have any reason to hesitate. We might actually see like a zoning Macropyre just clearing out the creep wave here to buy some time for the Mirana. I'm not too sure if they want to use it that way, but since they don't have any other way to hold them in position, you might as well.
So moving into the high ground here, Jay in the front lines. The Kells gets silenced and telekinesis to start things off. Mystic Flare totally off the mark, but that's all right. MiTH Trust still taking heavy damage. Now Centaur falls. He has no buyback. Exorcism is deployed. Rubik, what does he have? Just stolen the Wraithfire Blast for now. Blinks forward and will give Lakel's a taste of his own medicine. Reincarnation is on cooldown. They'll have the damage to bring him down. Buyback from Lakel's, but now they'll just start to focus on the Tier 3 tower. Dire Side still have a glyph remaining. It is a 5v4 on the field. Doom should have his ultimate cooling down pretty soon. Yeah, about 20 seconds. Moonlight Shadow is used, and IAP will be on the back foot. Emma Stone taking some damage. Will start to get left behind, but force stab back to safety. Reinitiation from you. Shivas connects on 4 and Lakel's. He needs to be careful. A dieback here will really be costly for this Dire Side. Emma Stone does finally go down to the Death Prophet. There is a gem. That gets pinged out. Lakel's pressing forward, looking for the kill onto Jay. But you goes in. Doom onto MiPro. Mystic Flare. I think he'll still be able to survive. Lakel's not so lucky as he takes the fiery sword from the Doombringer. SD tries to TP out from the low ground. Level Death on cooldown. It'll actually be a successful plight as Death Prophet now buys back. And again, similar to this last fight, MiTH Trust make a hold, but it'll be costly as they burn 2 more buybacks this time.
Yeah, and if they were like banking on a late game carry to just be able to pull ahead once they hit a certain point in time, 45, 50 minutes into the game, this would be okay. Trading buybacks for base defense would be a necessary but effective way to bring this game to where they need it to be. But as it is, MiTH just don't have that scaling. Death Prophet and the Wraith King are great carries, but IAP have some great late game heroes as well. The Templar Assassin, the Doom, the Brewmaster all getting really big right now, and it's only going to take maybe an AC from Fox for them to feel perfectly confident to break the base in full. The synopsis is that MiTH really need this Roshan, and IAP, of course, don't want to give it to them. I think that they're still going to get it because of the fact that Jay is down for so long. He is a level 22 hero after all, but yeah, even still, it costs them their Exorcism, and they are going to play defensively for the first couple minutes of this Aegis.
Yeah, no vision for the Radiant side to confirm what their suspicions are. Undoubtedly that they move into third Roche, and Aegis and Cheese, always a big one. Death Prophet will be the one to grab the Aegis of the Immortal, and Cheese will go to the Big Brad Centaur, who has been their frontliner, and also still just really lacking on the HP front. He's made no item progression since we last looked at his inventory, and very susceptible to just getting burst down. Heavy armor, but not so much survivability. Here's a huge item for IAP, the Refresher on Doom. Oh, man. And look at what he has in the belly. Frost attack, so 20% movement slow. Not too often you see that, but will really come in handy in this upcoming skirmish.
Essentially free Scotty. Doesn't get the attacks, or does get attack speed slow. It's just not as potent. So, yeah, it's still a very nice skill, and he'll be on target, that's for sure. He'll be able to blink on the individuals, double Shivas. They're not getting away from him.
Oh, Lakelz gets jumped on right away. He does have a reincarnation available. Mystic Flare comes in right onto KYT. There's the problem with the Centaur. Can't even get his cheese off because he dies so quickly. They will proc the reincarnation. Lakelz comes up and will fall shortly after. Ice Path connects on a few, but now MiTH really in trouble. They have no buybacks to rely on. The Primal Split's been used. All they have is a glyph to buy them some time. Exorcism still on CD for another 30 seconds. DP might have 2 lives, but without an ultimate, it just doesn't really matter. Buyback from the Centaur now, ready to make the hold. Still at the glyph. Still with the glyph at the ready, but Naki, oh, he just gets destroyed by this TA. The minus armor is just too much, and they'll start to go hard on the barracks as MiTH counting their blessings, trying to figure out the right angle to initiate. With a 5v3 on the field, still no DP ulti. They're not going to be able to make a hold. Glyph comes out, delays the inevitable, arrow flies through, will not connect with any heroes, and now IAP will just continue on. They want to end this sooner rather than later, and I worry for this Death Prophet. He needs to be careful with a BKB and the ultimate. Needs to choose how he uses those cooldowns very wisely, given he has that Aegis.
Yeah, without the Wraith King, though, it's almost impossible to engage on this. They do have the Stampede, they do have the Exorcism, but they need this arrow to connect. It whiffs right on by, and now it's just the all-in desperation play. It's not a great way to use it, but he has to go in now. And we're going to see the initiation actually happen on KYT.
Yeah, Centaur taking a lot of damage as he also eats a Silence, takes one of the Dooms. Rubik does take some damage, but steals a Crypt Swarm. And, well, this Death Prophet doing everything she can. The top and mid lane of Rax have already fallen, so even if IAP get repelled here and concede a few deaths, damage has been done. Lakelz is back up. Jay takes Silence, and still on the run, has his BKB at the ready. Now Lakelz on the high ground. He will have a reincarnation, but will also be the first to go down. MyPro taking a lot of damage, but the heal in the nick of time will bring him right back up. Primal Split comes out once more. They'll go on to Lakelz. Without a second life, he becomes a very easy target to bring down. He'll fall. No buyback available on him. They'll isolate the Jakiro as soon as Naki comes back down. Will get picked. SD making the TP home. Will be successful in that fight as the Ice Path is just 2 delayed from Rubik. With only 2 standing, Exorcism stuck on CD for another minute. This Aegis of the Immortal is just rendered completely useless.
Yeah, it's so painful to watch, but at the same time, there's some great plays there from IAP. Jay was actually going to be the focus target there, and would have been actually pretty easy to pick off if the Wraithfire Blast connected after Lakelz blinked in, but immediately Jay used his meld, dodged the blast, and kept on moving. At the very least, it should have forced a number of Force Staffs to get him out of a bad spot, but in the end, without that connecting, they just didn't have a clear target. They only got 1 arrow off half duration on Fox, and that wasn't enough for them to feel confident focusing one target or another. So the chaos ensues, MiTH fall by the wayside, and IAP take this game. Very well played.
Yeah, Mega Creeps come out, and there's your GG from MiTH, and certainly not a moment too soon. A very back and forth game, 44 minutes in, a nice rapier picked up by TA, making a couple of viewers happy there with a couple of extra items, but a pretty fun game to enjoy, and another dominant performance from IAP, so that will push them now into an even better record, and will be 8-1 in that first position, taking the leaderboards by brute force plays. Pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, just a really impressive showing. I mean, obviously there were some things that they had to short. Maybe Rubik's early game could work a little bit better, and you getting picked off a few times. But in general, the team unit played really well, coordinated, and pushed at the right times. And there were a number of exchanges where they kind of just straight up outplayed MiTH Trust, where they had banked up Magic Stick charges. They were just baiting them into a bad spot, and how over and over the exchanges went in their favor. So very nicely done. Some great play as a whole, and IAP, I'm looking forward to seeing more from them because even in the SEA region, they are looking to be top dogs. But yeah, I want to see them in a global environment. I want to see them go to the Starladder LAN.
So we will have one more game today. There was a little hiccup in the internal scheduling here, but it is Johnny's Revenge versus MiTH Trust, so they'll have a chance for vengeance as they will square off once more. I'm Zyori, joined once again by Blaze, and we'll be back after this short break.